when you start talking to people, like how people should actually be a lot more, how would I say it? They should have more self-confidence in themselves and how they talk, because when they talk, people actually do listen. People actually do see a little bit of weight. This dude, Arslan Ash, is like a millionaire being that sort of thing. And yet for some reason I got into a conversation with him and all that stuff. And I got him to, like, he's right now in a fighting game tournament because of me today, that sort of thing. And I ended up commentating for all those fighting things, right? So that's the one thing I really wanted to get at was at the end of the day, I had a blast because I realized, hey, everybody should just have a little bit of self-confidence coming in and knowing that, hey, if you're really nice to people, you're kind to people, you talk to people in a good way, you can go far, honestly. That's really what I wanted to get at with my whole story.
Yeah.
But
Having social skills is important. Yeah.
very, very important, all that stuff, especially because a lot of these like video game people that I was talking to had zero social skills.
I mean, that's how I feel about like how I got my job. It's like I don't feel like I was the best qualified. I felt like I was, I was able to nail an interview because I was social.
But you know what? I could actually weave this into to your profession, Teresa. Do you go to, let's say, what do you call it, conventions or something like that with a bunch of different authors?
Oh, we gotta bring up Mensa.
You know what? Well,
Sorry.
let's talk about Mensa later.
Convention. Yeah.
What is it? Wait, Mensa is that the like, oh, you guys are smarter than me convention? That is the one. Okay, yeah. I have thoughts about that. Very negative thoughts, but I have thoughts about that. But I want to say though, if you go to like, let's say like, book conventions where you meet a bunch of authors and stuff like that, were there any authors that you just kind of stand out and be like, you don't seem like the person that I thought you were, you were writing in a way, kind of like that? Like, is there a lot of introverts, I would say, like when it comes to like writing?
There are
Does that make
definitely a lot
sense?
of introverts, which is what
And
actually
again,
I
excuse me,
went.
I get a drink, but I'll be listening in while you talk. Go ahead.
Okay. I actually went to my first. I've been to some travel writing and travel related events, but I went to my first author conference last October, and it was a very intimate conference, and it was in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and I'm going to my second one in November of this year, and it's going to be the largest author conference for independent publishers called Author Nation, and that'll be in November. But other than that, I haven't been to a lot of author, but I've just conferences. Mine has been mostly B2C focused. I've been really, especially with the local tourist, focused on. I mean, I've been hosting my own events, and I really haven't been to a lot of trade shows or conferences per se. I've been to Women in Travel Summit in Milwaukee, but that was back in 2017. So I've been to travel writing related conferences, but not a ton. And frankly, usually and I don't mean this to sound arrogant, but usually when I've been to the conferences, I've been speaking. So I haven't been to a lot as an attendee, and like I said, I've only been to one author conference so far, and I'll be going to my second this upcoming November.
What's the name of that conference?
The Mensa, is
One
that
in
the one with
November
the...
is the one in November. It's Author Nation.
Author
And
Nation Conference.
that
Where is it at?
20 books a day. What?
Where is it?
It's in Vegas.
Nice.
Oh,
You know what? I don't like Vegas, but I'll go to Vegas for something.
Anybody who knows passive income knows that there's no such thing as.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that's
it's like
okay.
you've created it,
That'd be good.
it's done, and then
Yeah.
you're just marketing it. So that's the idea behind it. But it's a very robust community, but they changed directions, and now it's been all the contracts were purchased, and now it's Author Nation. Their first one was last November, and all of these podcasters, these authors who have podcasts that I listen to and respect, they bought their ticket before the conference was even over last year. So I thought, okay, I need to go. So that's why I'm going to the one this year in November.
Speaking of
real
authors
quick,
that have podcasts,
Sorry, real quick. I am drinking the actual Moors, the better Moors, guys, right
no.
here.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah. I'm cutting. No, I ain't cutting man off on that one. All right. Anyway, sorry. Continue, JP.
So there's
I'm doing whiskey
Glennon
next.
Doyle podcast and what's her name? Oh shoot. She wrote like The Heart of Atlantis. What is that author's name? God damn it. I gotta Google this shit now. But have you ever? Uh, I went on a tangent, but you know Glennon Doyle,
Mhm.
and she has that author podcast. Not an author podcast. She's a podcaster, and she's married to that soccer player. What's her name? Do you know her
Wait,
name?
Heart of Atlantis is from Stephen King.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
I looked up Heart of Atlantis. It says Stephen King. I forgot.
Drunk. I
Whatever.
just did a tasting so I could find out what I should drink
Uh,
tonight.
I tasted.
That's
I
true.
tasted 7 beers just to find out which one I like. No.
Hey, I'm a pro. I got, like I said,
You got the A to Z thing. Yeah, I know. Which we have to start again. But okay, hold on. Mensa. What's the deal with that? Now, let me preface. All that I remember from Mensa is the fact that you have one of the most the most loudest people of Mensa are probably the most arrogant, I would say. Would you agree with that maybe or not?
No,
You're always trying to put it in a negative twist here.
No, it's
I
not a
know.
negative
I
quiz though,
know.
because what I'm saying is that there's a lot of people that at least from what I know, like when you hear about people that like say that they're from Mensa, typically it's because it came with a controversy with those guys, right?
What?
And suddenly
Or
it
they could
comes,
have just been born here.
No. It's
Born
more
there.
like, well, okay, for anybody that doesn't know, Mensa is like the largest and oldest high IQ society in the world. I just literally just read
Is
that
it?
on Wikipedia right now from yeah, it is. So it's basically a nonprofit organization with a society of people with high IQs. First off, what's the IQ? What's the IQ threshold to start being Mensa?
What is it?
I don't know. I'm not a member of Mensa. I haven't applied to Mensa. I have no idea what my IQ is.
Wait, but you spoke at
There you
Mensa.
go.
No, I'm
No, she
speaking
isn't.
at
So she's
Mensa.
speaking. She's going to speak. Yeah.
I'm
She's
speaking
selling
at
books.
Mensa this year at their annual gathering.
Okay, so okay. So
Congratulations.
hold on. This is something I should have asked you before the podcast. So I actually one of the things that JP mentioned when he gave us like a little bit of a synopsis is that she is also speaking at the yearly Mensa conference soon. So when I read that, I thought you're speaking yearly, not that this is the first time you're
no,
speaking.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's not my fault there. All right. So
My
one
bad.
thing.
Wording problem
Secondly,
there.
now, why did they invite you? And yeah, actually, let's say what happened. It's because of the book.
Yeah,
Ah.
Wow.
the program director. Somebody read my book, Living Landmarks of Chicago,
Mhm.
and told the program director for Mensa about it, and he read it and loved it and sent me an email saying, "This book is amazing. We would love to have you speak at our annual gathering." And I
Nice.
thought it was spam.
Right.
I read
Wow.
it. I was like, "This is." I mean, yes, it's a great book. I will fully acknowledge that I'm incredible. This is my passion project. I am incredibly proud. I wrote most of this book and researched most of it while I was going through chemo, and it kept me going. I published it 5 days before my chemo was done. So
Wow.
this book and I are just eternally entwined.
Ah.
And
That's so cool.
Love it. Love it.
so when he asked me, and I got this email, and I thought, is this real? So I did what any sane human being would do, and I Googled the name in the signature. And turns out he was the program director for Mensa, and he was legitimate. So I replied with it. The thing that really cracked me up about the email was he said, "If you're familiar with it, I mean, I always knew what it was growing up. My parents didn't believe, they don't know their IQ. They didn't believe in getting us tested. They just thought, we just don't want to we don't want to quantify your
Label
intelligence."
somebody. Yeah.
Mm.
Exactly. So we were never tested. But it was an organization of which I was always familiar. And I knew the level of attendees that would be at this and what an honor it was to be invited. So I said I would be honored to speak. And it's taking place
That's
at
awesome.
the Hilton Chicago, which is one of the books one of the landmarks that's featured in the book. He didn't even mention that when he reached out to me. So I don't think that was a determining factor. But they wanted to include locals who would be able to tell compelling stories, and apparently he thought that I would be able to. So, and he also,
that's
I
cool.
don't, he actually didn't know that I do speak. I speak at the Travel and Adventure Show across the country. I speak at libraries. I So it was just, that's how that came to be, and I am very honored, and
That's cool.
I'm excited, and I'm a little nervous.
Don't be
Uh,
nervous.
sorry,
You're
sorry,
awesome.
I
sorry,
can
just
imagine. It's so
real,
the
real
Landmarks of Chicago book. Is that something you want to read in a sitting, or is this something you want to put on like your tabletop for people to just pick up and look through? Like, what type of book is it exactly?
It's
So
I
that
mean, it
people
could
know.
be either, but it's basically a
Yeah.
series of vignettes. So I highlight 50 Chicago landmarks that are in existence today. The original concept was that I would highlight landmarks that are available that you could go see today, and tell more of the present day story. I actually had a book launch set, and it was going to be at the Blackstone Hotel in the English Room, appropriately enough, for March 16th, 2020. Everything
Ah,
shut down.
the close
Yeah,
down date. Ah,
right. So
jeez.
2020 was kind of I mean,
Jeez. Year of
I
shit.
got the
Yep.
call on March 8th, I think. Maybe it was March 12th. Anyway, just saying, yeah, because they had people staying at the hotel who had COVID. And
What?
like William LeBaron Jennings' dad owned a whaling fleet, so he was sailing around the country on his dad's, or around the world on his dad's whaling fleet, and he saw these bamboo huts in the South Pacific, and that is what inspired the skyscraper, and that's why we have skyscrapers today. Because his dad had a whaling fleet, and he was an artist and somebody who could imagine things. And those are the kinds of stories, like Marshall Field literally jumped on a moving train to propose to his first wife, and it was the only impulsive act he ever did, and probably the one he regretted the most, because it was a miserable marriage. But so
Yeah, yeah.
So how did
Real quick,
did Jim propose to you? That's the next question.
is
I'm
that?
sorry, what?
Is that the next question? Really? All right, no. Actually,
I love hearing marriage proposals. Sorry.
Really? All right. Well, I was gonna really quickly say, just for the audience and stuff like that, to be Mensa requirements, and no hate on Mensa. Sorry, you're speak on it. Everything I say is not what you think. Blah blah blah. If anybody from Mensa is listening, which would be great, by the way. If you guys are listening from Mensa, hey, topical drinks every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Hey, we're awesome. Cool. Anyway, So minimum accepted score is 132 IQ, by the way.
Oh, I'm higher
Okay.
than that.
I'd be
The
Nice.
mean,
same. We all
well,
pass.
the mean score is 100. So if
The
if
mean,
we're all
yeah.
like if we're all normal people, normies, we'd be 100 essentially. Is what's going on. Standard deviation of 15.
You guys take
yada, yada,
tests?
yada. I never taken it. I don't care to take it. Just like what
I
she
I didn't
said.
care either,
I
but
don't
I
care.
took it though. I did take it. I was just.
Oh, you take it? Okay, cool. We're not gonna ask. Anyway, so
Alright.
good luck with that. By the way, they loved your book. I hope that they're like, did you take the test? No. How dare you? And all that stuff. Or they force you to take the test. That would be
I mean, I
very
can.
interesting.
I actually can take the test there if I want to. I'm not sure I will. I probably won't. But I've been
It seems
given
like a
the
lot of
option.
pressure. Yeah. It's
I
like,
know. What if they're
it's
like just
do you
like,
want to
okay,
know or do you don't? It's
but
like,
you
what the
need to
heck?
be 138, and then like, oh no, sorry, 132, and then you take the test, you're
No,
131, and
I
like,
think no. I think she's above that. Honestly.
I don't know how strict they are, honestly, but
Un-
regardless, so
I think
honestly,
unlikely.
good luck with that speech, by the way. Honestly, like no hate on everything like that. I think
No.
any promotions to your excellent book and all that stuff, and I will buy it right now. Real quick though, I do want to mention something. I was actually trying to go back to your website and I googled Teresa's books. I have a question. Do you have any recollection of a book that you would say is just, you know what? I know I've been asking so many questions like this. Straight up awful.
You're
A book
always
that you're just
negative. Yeah, negative Nancy over here.
well, the reason I say that
He always
is
wants
because
like the worst book, the worst experience. Yeah.
I looked up Teresa's book, not Teresa's book. My mistake. And the first thing that comes up is Empress Teresa. You ever heard of that book?
No, I have not.
Okay.
No.
So that book is a really good example of some author that is a little too high in his own hubris, right?
Oh my goodness.
And he will be fighting people in the reviews, and there would be like the reviews of them like basically saying how bad the book is, and then he's fighting them using like excerpts of his own book or anything like that, right? And I think the better way to like kind of, I guess, ask a better question here is this: would you have, let's say, like people that would critique your book a little unfairly? I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you feel about that? How would you take it? For all the
Well,
aspiring authors that we have two authors here that want to be aspiring. They're probably going to get some of those critiques. How would you take that?
Two
I
authors.
just saw something today or yesterday,
Two.
and
That's it too.
Three.
Aspiring.
Actually, it's three. Actually, it's three here though.
No, she's
We
the
are
author.
this.
You two are the aspiring
She's talking
authors.
about her talk.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
I think we're both authors. I think all of us are.
I saw something. It was either today or yesterday or recently, and it was just saying that you can have two people read and review the exact same book and have wildly disparate reactions.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't. I feel like it has to come down to how you as the author feel. Why are you laughing?
Because
Yadu
Yadu's
just came
return.
back. Yadu came
Oh.
back from his battle from the toilet. Anyway, go ahead.
You.
I hope you survived. Yay!
Yeah. Oh, that's nasty, guys.
I hope he's okay. Jeez.
Yeah, he
No,
does not look okay.
That's
Anyway, sorry.
nasty.
Continue, Teresa.
No. That's okay. It's just really there are going to be you're going to get negative reviews. One thing that drives me crazy actually is I have some 1 and 2-star reviews on like my fiction, or not reviews, they're ratings. So they don't leave a review, so I can't see. Okay, what didn't you
You
like?
can't respond to that.
There's nothing to tell me. Is this something that I can improve upon in the next book? Or is this something I should completely disregard because maybe you don't like that I have my sidekick is, a gay man who gets married and, later. Because I've had people reply to emails saying, She wanted to be a member of my ARC team, which is advanced reader copy. So she got an advanced copy of the book and read it. And the idea is they will then leave a review. And this person was like, I don't approve of that lifestyle. And you
No,
are pushing
jeez.
that on people. And I've got a big
Pushing it
draft.
on people.
Yeah. I
Wow.
mean, I replied with a big draft that I left in draft because I thought this person does not deserve the dignity of my
I
reply.
know you well enough to know what that draft would probably sound like.
It was scathing. We'll just say that. But I left it at that, and I thought, you know what? I'm not. I got out my reply, but then I left it because this person, I know what I wrote, and I feel like as a creator, you
Love it.
should love what you put out into the world. It's
Mm.
never going to be perfect. It is never going to be perfect. It shouldn't be perfect. If it's perfect, that's boring. Because then you're done, and then what else are you going to do? So my belief is that
That's good advice
some
right
people
there.
are going to love it,
Yeah.
some people are going to hate it,
Yeah.
and just kind of blow it off. I actually had a 1-star review on Amazon for Living Landmarks, and her comment was up. She was upset, or this person was upset because I just pulled it up, tells a part of Chicago's history, but Chicago is much, much more. And this person was angry because I didn't go into the detail of the Native Americans, the indigenous peoples who lived here ahead of time.
Mm.
It would have been better just to call it a history of some buildings. And I thought, but
The
that's
history of some
exactly
buildings.
what it is. It's called,
R-
that is.
Landmarks,
Right.
So the
Chicago, yeah.
reviews, I said a while ago, I don't tell short stories, so my TLDR is just ignore the haters.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that, Gabe?
That is
KP?
very
Ignore the
self-righteous.
haters. Love
Ignore
it,
me, I'm the
Teresa.
hater.
Well,
He is a
He
hater.
doesn't come out if you don't,
Always been a hater.
ignore the
But
haters.
yeah.
No,
'Cause-
here's the thing. I'm not a hater. I'm asking
Hater.
tough questions because I want to make this interesting. But
Or
Well,
can't
you're-
just be
you're-
you're
all
just a
lovey-dovey.
hater.
but
Or
Lovey-dovey's
you're
still
just a
interesting.
hater.
What? I'm sorry. Wait.
I said lovey-dovey's still interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
about that.
I'm a romantic. I'm a lovey-dovey guy. I definitely love writing romantic poems, romantic stories. And Jorge over here, every time he sees something romantic and like mainstream or anything like good, he hates pop culture. He hates like movies like Tenet. Did you like Django?
I hated
Oh,
I
let's
hated
not get into that.
Tenet.
Let's not get into that
I
right
like
now. So,
Django.
like,
I like Django.
Oh, okay. Thank
so,
God.
So,
No, I
get back
hated
to
Tenet.
about writing. So like,
yeah.
with-
Sorry. Go ahead.
so with writing fiction and
Okay.
nonfiction, like, so I like
Mhm.
writing sci-fi, and with that you have to get technical. So it's very hard to like hit that point where you're like, when you're talking about sci-fi stuff, like, okay, do I have to research to the point where I'm absolutely right on this science, or do I just let sci-fi take over and just make it be what it is,
So
what I want it to be, you know?
where you're kind of asking is like you make your own rules and let the reader basically just go with your imagination. Like, hey, let's be
Yeah.
abstract with what we're doing because that's not the important
Yeah.
part. The important part is the story. But real quick though, I did want to ask Teresa, like, actually, because you do do
Just
murder
take
mysteries and
over.
stuff like that. Are you a fan of like kind of very avant-garde because actually JP just kind of brought it up in my head when he was talking about the abstract part of things like that. Let's say Twin Peaks, for example. It is a murder mystery, but it is a very psychological in terms of how strange and surreal. That's the word I was looking for. Is your books, your murder mysteries though, are they surreal or are they more a little less than that, more kind of, in the reality type of thing? Would you be interested in the surreal? What would you think?
My books so far have been very grounded in reality and possibility, and I know
Love
that
it.
stems from my experience my degree is in journalism and my experience as a travel writer
Cheers.
and nonfiction writer and author. So I always make sure there's the factual element, because as a reader too, I want that suspension of disbelief. So I want to feel like what I'm reading could actually happen. So to
Mhm.
answer your question and your statement, JP, is like for sci-fi, there's you've got to find a balance where it could be is a somebody with a PhD in this particular field or multiple PhDs in this particular field
Yeah.
going to point and say that is not possible. But also science is the study of what is currently impossible
Mm,
or previously impossible, I guess. So
it
the
is
things
Like
that we
this
know
field
absolutely
is
of
that.
possible
science
today
ain't
were
gonna come out with
previously
a video saying,
impossible.
"Oh, this
So
is bullshit." Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's your own level of comfort. But as far as the surreal part, yes. I mean, I love fantasies. In fact, I'm working towards writing a whole fantasy universe, and
Nah,
that'll
see
be
that's where
Oh.
I wanted to get. Okay,
Oh.
yeah.
now this is
Oh.
where my question was going with. And thank you so much for getting to that part because I wasn't going to go to the surreal, but then now I was going to actually ask for that part. You got to where I was actually really going for here. So you're going to go for fantasy. I caught you.
Mhm.
All right, cool. What type of fantasy are we talking about here? Are we talking about let's say because you said you were a little grounded, right? Are you looking
Mhm.
to more like I guess what's the word of it? There's a difference between like there it is, high fantasy, which is like everything's fantastical, elves and stuff like that, and then you have low fantasy, which is more of the Conan the Barbarian type of stuff. That it's like it's grounded, but there is still a little bit of magic in a way. It's a fantasy
Hmm.
thing, but it's a little more
Yeah.
grounded, more less elves and magic everywhere, but more like magic is a thing, but not many people have it, and it's very how would I say it? Subtle. Where would you go when you want to start doing that?
It's building. It's I'm leaning towards more of a like epic fantasy
Mm-hmm.
uh and kind of high fantasy. It's not I thought I was going to go in the realm of more. There are so many different genres and terms in this. It's all building. I mean, I know
Mm.
I've got a lot of the basics down. I've got the character, the primary. I've got my protagonist and the world that, but I'm building the world. That's all kind of coming to me, and I'm just letting it build.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of the creativity. Is like, okay, I'll see something here, and I'll see something here, and I just gather them all together, and it's coalescing, and you know, it'll it's coalescing at a rate that I will be able to start putting words together in a format that can actually be understood by another human being, probably within about 6 months or so, if I were to put a time on it.
Hey,
But
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where,
Okay. But
yeah.
then my other question would be this: that like while you are coalescing all these ideas and all that stuff, do you and has this ever happened to you? Actually, it should be the question, or
Mhm.
do you expect that to make this happen? That you are, let's say, you said that you're set with your protagonist and everything like that. As the process goes, suddenly it evolves to something that you did not originally think of. That suddenly you're going into like a whole nother
Oh yeah.
tangent as you're working on it. You're like, you know what? Actually, it's going to be like this. I have a
That's
good
happened to me.
example, but I want to first see what you think, and then I'll bring in my example of what I'm thinking of.
That's the story of every fiction book I've written so far. I
All
have
right.
Hmm.
thought I have thought I knew who the murderer was. In some cases, I thought I knew who the victim was, and then I start writing, and the characters are like, "No, that's not what happened," and they just go
Makes
off on their
sense.
own tangent.
Let it go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
try, I
That
try
makes a
plot,
good murder mystery because you're not letting the
Y-
reader
y-
decide. You're kind of letting you decide and just say, hey, just like I'm gonna push this somewhere else.
I'm
You
assuming
know?
it's because while you're
Yeah.
writing, you're like, you know what? This is too obvious. I need to like,
Yeah.
or
Too
no, this,
obvious, or
yeah,
let's spin
No,
it. Yeah.
it isn't it's not that.
it's not
I
that. All
will
right.
like put these stakes in these tent poles. Okay, this is um. Have you heard of the terms plotter and pantser?
No, explain.
Okay,
Oh.
So a plotter is somebody who wants to have everything dictated, not dictated,
Ah,
everything laid out. They know everything that's going to happen. They know the, act 1, act 2, act 3. They know all the points that are all the beats that are happening to propel the story forward. A pantser is somebody who writes by the seat of their pants.
okay.
And
That makes.
also known as discovery writers. And then there are people, most people are what you would call planters. They're kind of a mix between the two. They like to plot some,
Okay.
and then they like to discover the rest of it. So I am more of a discovery writer. I had actually, um, I've tried doing intensive plotting. A lot of people who are discovery writers or pantsers, they say it's because they've already written the story in their minds if they outline it. So then that loses all of the joy,
So
the
yeah,
sense
the
of discovery.
outlining is a key thing. Like I have an outline for my story, and like I
Hmm.
have written 75% of it, and I'm like, well, fuck. I want to delete 2 characters because
But
I don't like them anymore. They're gone.
She just said it. Do it.
And
Just
that
do it.
yeah, and so it's just like so like you have an out like the outline is good for me because it gives me where I want to go. But then I
mhm.
get to like where this point where I'm like, oh shit, I don't like where the story is right now. And I'm like, I need to go back and like change this thing. And
If
so
you're
that's
writing
why the
something,
outline,
yeah.
yeah, you gotta
I,
like
I-
it,
No, no, I'm sorry.
you know?
no, no. Actually, so one thing I was going to say though, like, so it sounds like while you were working with it, you were still sticking with like the murder mystery, and then you're like, no, this is not the murder, or this is not the character that I want, and everything like that. But has it gone into like an extreme tangent? Now, my example that I was thinking of originally
Mhm.
was Mad Max. I don't know if you know the whole story of Mad Max, or you know Mad Max, the movies at least.
I do know my Max, but I don't know the whole story.
Okay, so originally the story was that Mad Max was not so much how it was just basically a journalist that progressively gets a little bit more insane because he keeps seeing a bunch of like really horrific like car accidents that he has to report on in Australia. That was the
Hmm.
story. That was the original story. And then as they were progressing, George, sorry, what's the writer, the director? Not George Romero. Well, I'll look it up
Of
real
what
quick.
movie? Of
Uh,
what movie?
Mad Max.
Mad
Mad
Max.
Max. Then it went from a journalist looking like just progressively like going a little insane because of all the car crashes he has to what we have. George Miller. Sorry, George Miller is the guy.
Yeah, George Miller.
That is the type of kind of writing that I'm saying goes like in outwards. Like as he's like making the movie, he's like, this isn't fun, and then he suddenly makes the insanity that we see now, as in Mad Max.
Hmm.
So my question is like, could you foresee while you're writing this like kind of fantasy thing that, or would you not just foresee, but would you be open that like suddenly your entire story as you're building it kind of gets scrapped originally to something that you feel is better, that is just a far huge difference than what you started with? Could you see
Oh,
that happening?
absolutely. In fact, that's already happened with this particular this fantasy. Originally, I thought it was going to be this portal mystery, or not portal mystery, but a portal fantasy, and inspired by the Thorn miniatures
The Thorn
at the
miniatures.
Art Institute.
Oh,
And
Oh,
that is a book that will eventually happen, but I felt like what it ended up happening is I felt like I was trying to shoehorn this idea of this portal fantasy into what is going to eventually be this whole, universe that I'm creating. So it's and the thing is with when you're creating, you just have to trust your intuition as you're writing. And if
mm-hmm.
you're writing and you feel like if the characters are saying this is the way I want to go, let them run.
Hey,
And
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just
But
let them run, and
how many times
because
did you
they
rewrite your book though? How many times did you like rewrite it before you said I'm gonna publish this? Like, did you finish the book and then rewrite some parts, or did you just edit some small changes? Small changes or major changes before the final publishing for your first draft?
uh, for the Alex Page books, they've all been minor changes. But I haven't. I will say the first one, there were a lot of. I mean, like every character name changed except for hers, except for
Mm.
Alex. She kind
Good to know.
of just sprung out of my head like Athena. And it was October 28th of 2021, right before NaNoWriMo was going to be my first NaNoWriMo. And I was originally going to write a Chicago historical novel, and then I realized too much history. I'm going to be stuck in the research and the rabbit holes. And so she came into my head, and I was like, oh, there we go. But so the first one, there was a lot of that. Well, I've got this character and that character, and we kept going down all these rabbit holes, and that didn't work. And then I just finally said, okay, I'm just going to stop trying to force what I think is going to happen and just let it happen. And so I learned this process of that's when I get up in the morning and I do my journaling, and then I set my timer for 30 minutes, and then I write. And I don't know what's going to happen.
And you have the lights in the house that's I want a copy.
Blue,
Yes.
blue. It's blue
Blue.
for her writing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
blue writing. Her husband talking is red. I
Yeah.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, damn. You know what? If in any way, especially if we do back to the A to Z beer, inspire you in an amazing fantasy thing, please, please, please have a character named Jorge. I'm just gonna say that
Oh,
right
shit.
now.
He
If you
will
have to
be
He will
the
be the
antagonist.
complete nihilistic asshole, sure. I don't care. My name is there.
Well, he's going to be the realist of the bunch. As my dad says, I'm
Oh, I
not a
like that.
pessimist. I'm
I
not a
like that.
pessimist. I'm a
Not a
realist. So
realist.
I'm
I love
saying,
that.
dude,
Yeah.
guys,
Oh,
are you
sorry,
sure?
sorry. It's a fantasy book, so call it like a weird fantasy Jorge or something like that. I don't know.
Oh
Some
my
weird thing. I
gosh.
don't know.
You're going
Actually,
too
no,
far.
hold on. I do want to think. No, hold on. And going back to what I was saying, the high fantasy, low fantasy thing. Like, so it sounded like you are currently thinking of a high fantasy type of thing. Like, because like typically I guess like right now the mainstream right now high fantasy is always like kind of more the English high fantasy, the elves, the or so on and so forth, or they might go Nordish or anything like that. Is there, I guess, a specific region or culture that might inspire you for this current fantasy that you're thinking of right now?
Mm.
There is,
Hmm.
but I don't want to reveal it.
Okay, that's
Nice,
fine.
smart choice,
We don't
smart
have to then.
choice.
All right, that's
By the
cool.
way, she is
You
Irish.
know,
I just want to let you know.
Oh, she's Irish. Okay, that's spoiler alert.
yeah, yeah. Well, and frankly, part of it is because it's still in the nascent stages. It's all
Yeah.
forming. It's like
You want to give it up?
so.
Yeah.
Damn, if
I
she
don't
like
want to.
straight up,
Because you
I
can
was
say
like,
something today and it'll change tomorrow. So.
right. Like she like just talked to Jorge and she's like, well, we got to make it Incan now. He's Peruvian. We got to make it an Incan now.
Or he could just make you the person that is the enemy in the book. You never know.
Dude, I'm fine, dude. I honestly here. Okay, and maybe I don't know, Teresa, if you would agree with me with this thing, but I always feel like for a lot of, not everything, but I would say for the most of what I see personally, I always feel like the villain is the most important character of every story, because like if the villain is not good, then I think the story loses its stakes. It loses like really its impact if you don't have really a compelling villain,
I
right?
agree with that.
And I'm
Because
not
you gotta
saying
have somebody you're afraid of.
yeah, right. And it doesn't have to be like a villain that's like, has to be like, have a two-side story and stuff like that. It could be like just a evil dude. It doesn't matter. But if you don't have like a really compelling villain, your story just kind of not so good.
So
If you're
this
doing that kind of duality
this
thing, sort of thing, right?
this
Who?
brings me to a very good Marvel show that was very underrated. Was with David Tennant as the villain in Jessica Jones. I forgot his
Jones.
character's name.
No, I guess he
but
wasn't that
he
compelling.
was.
I can't even remember his
No,
name.
he
Oh no no no
was.
no no no! He was
But I don't remember it
intensely fucking like wow. We were just like it made Jessica Jones like one of the best Marvel shows, and because Dave Tennant was like an amazing villain, like
Kilgrave.
it was oh yes, Graves, yes, and it you're right, like the villain makes a good like it makes a good show, it makes a good book, it makes good
Well,
everything because you have something to fight against, you know.
right. And here's the other thing, though. Not only that, I think the villain is also one that either the artist, whether it be the writer that is writing this villain, or even the actor, the person that's playing the villain, they have probably the most creativity a part of it. And I got a few examples here, right? One example, which is probably the funniest one that I've ever heard, is all the people that have to go work in Disney, like Disney World, Disneyland, and they have to like play either the princesses, the characters, or the
Yeah.
villain.
Mhm.
And every one of those people that work that always have to play the villains, especially like the Wicked Witch and the Queen, I guess the Queen from Snow White and stuff like that. Every one of them says they always want to play the villain because they always have the they have to be the most sarcastic but the most creative because
Yeah,
like all the
because
heroes all the heroes
have
have
to
to
be
be like
fake.
all like
It's
like
very
fake
fake.
and
Those are your
happy,
Disney
but the
princesses,
villainesses
those
are probably the
Disney,
best.
Those are your whitewashed Disney characters. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean, if you're
very
going
true.
to, any good story has a complex protagonist and a complex antagonist. And
Okay.
neither one of them are perfect, and neither, there's no, absolutely perfect protagonist and absolutely evil antagonist. And if you've got that, then the story's over. So you've
Yeah.
got to have some complexity. You've got to have some good and bad. And that's why Darth Vader and that whole story grips so many people because he's not entirely bad and there's still hope that he can be good because he's good at his core. And there
Alright, so
was
Nope.
now you just hit a topic on me. All right, here, hold on.
All
Okay,
right,
here's the
Jorge,
thing.
stop for a second.
No, hold on.
oh no, oh
No,
no.
no,
I didn't know I was hitting
Hold on, also, by the way, we have a few minutes because I just found out Yadu actually finally started watching Andor, by the way, and he legitimately says it's good, right? Yadu, I've been telling you so much.
Well, Andor is
Andor's
amazing.
great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I'm
Great as
about
that.
halfway through right now. I just started season 2.
See, you started season 2? I haven't started season 2 yet,
No
but season 1
spoilers,
was
I haven't started-
amazing.
No spoilers. Teresa hasn't
Oh,
watched
you
it.
haven't wait, Teresa, have you watched season 1?
I have. I've not started season 2 yet.
I haven't
so-
started season 2 yet. Yeah, you're right. Season
Okay.
1, the
Good.
best Star Wars thing ever, right?
Season 1's great.
Here's the thing with Vader, though. And this is where I would say Vader in the trilogy, if we're only talking about the original trilogy, episode 4, 5, and 6, right? I think he was a great villain, straight up, right? But then when Disney comes in and Marvel and Dark Horse, the comic books, actually Dark Horse was before they bought out Marvel and all that stuff. Right?
You skipped a whole bunch of things
Suddenly, no, the extended universe. I'm not even gonna talk about the extended universe too. Suddenly, like they make like Vader this like weird, like super fucking powerful. He's a bad guy, but oh my god, look how powerful he is, and blah 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 blah, that sort of thing. That a lot of these edgelord idiots just latch onto, and now you have a corruption of that villain, and you kind of miss the point on
Well,
who the villain is.
Why do they attach to him? Because they like him as
Because he's so
the-
dark and brooding, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah,
Oh
but-
my god,
well,
right?
not only that, because he's a victim at one point. He's like, he grew up in a shitty situation. People see themselves in that, and so
I absolutely
and
100% don't think they think that. No, I'm not even joking.
no, I guarantee
because like,
they
if you,
think
if you
that.
listen to people like in the manosphere, like Star Wars theory, that asshole and all that stuff. I'm sorry, I'm getting into politics
I
now.
hate that guy.
Yeah, I hate
Yeah.
that guy.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting into
It's
politics.
From my
Those type of
script.
people, those
Alright,
type of
let
people,
me- let me-
he's such a manly, like, villain. Oh my god, I want to be like him. Blah 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 blah. That sort of thing. Now you missed the point.
I didn't
Right?
mention that. You guys did. So I'm
I'm
talking
mentioning it right
about
now.
like.
I'm mentioning it, but that's what I'm saying is that sometimes the villain itself, like, well, at least the original author's intent gets lost when, like, readers
Yeah,
or like people take it and then just like make their own thing. What's even worse is that when you have like a huge extended universe and now you don't have control of other authors that are essentially like hired to write all these other stories about some of these characters that you originally wrote, and then they suddenly made them like Boba Fett, for example. Just let the dude is a bounty hunter. Why the hell are we
Yeah,
doing this
he's a
book of
minor
Boba Fett
character.
bullshit? I
Yeah,
am sorry.
it doesn't matter.
I'm going through a tangent. I hate that shit. Anyway, sorry, Teresa. But that's what I'm saying is that I'm pretty sure you as an author would probably, and actually all of us, would love that we make a book in which suddenly we're making so much money and then we're letting these authors just run wild with what we have. Actually,
But that's a massive, um, I would say compliment to have people write for you. Like,
oh, 100%.
I mean, that's like,
you know what,
like,
Teresa, would
if
you think
somebody
that is a
wanted-
compliment?
If people wanted to write fan fiction or
Not well. Okay,
Yeah,
fan fiction would be
they-
one
they-
thing,
they
but
took
like
your
not just
character
fan
and
fiction.
expanded their stories. You know?
Right, not just fan fiction, but you would actually have like authors be like, "Hey, we want to write like extended like side stories or something like that." And I mean, I would say so, right?
I mean, it's a compliment. Would I want them to do it? I'm early enough in this. I would say no because
Oh wow!
I'm still very
Surprising.
protective of. These are my characters. These are
Yeah.
people that are. I mean,
You know
they're,
what?
they're part of my art, part of my. I mean, I hear them speak. I feel like when I'm writing, I'm transcribing.
You know what? You know what?
Mm.
You know what? You're not alone on that. And I do want to give one example that like when you said that I already knew the person that's it. You ever heard of Alan Moore, the man that wrote The Watchmen? Okay. That guy, same story. He made The Watchmen incredibly popular, but of course he wrote it
Yeah, I
under
know the
like
Watchmen.
the
I
DC.
just said no. I don't.
Right. He wrote like
Huh.
the DC. It was DC owned it and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, he wrote it, but they had the properties, the IPs, and stuff like that. And he's one of the guys. He also made V for Vendetta, I think. And he's one of
nice.
those guys that basically straight up was like, I hate everybody that is making like they missed the point. They like I do not like this. I do not like what they're doing to my characters and stuff like that. You know, he would be that. Granted, he's still making millions and millions of dollars from that stuff, but he can still complain about I don't like what they're doing, essentially, right? So
I mean,
actually,
yeah, I mean, it's like he's already probably has he made enough. It's not about the money. You know,
Yeah,
a lot
but
of times it's just
integrity
about,
of what
yeah,
your
like,
product
great,
is,
yeah.
what you want to be. Yeah.
right. Oh, by the way, he also made Batman: The Killing Joke, Superman: Whatever Happens to the Man of Tomorrow, that sort of thing, which was one of the most like best stories of Batman and Superman, by the way. But that's beside the point. Real quick though, we are actually on time. It is 11 o'clock. It is, and we always try to keep it like on
The
time
end
and
of
all
the
that stuff.
podcast, yeah. So
Yeah, that's true. But Teresa, honestly, thank you so much for being in our cast. Honestly, you were great. So everybody,
Props.
everybody,
Hey.
please.
yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Let me bring this up again. Because I still had that that YouTube not that YouTube. What was I saying?
The YouTube.
That really weird here we go. Okay. So everybody please go to teresasbooks.com. I have it up right now. Definitely buy her big. Alex Page Travels, Mysteries, and Bundles, as well as her travel guides. The Midwest Road Trip, The Perfect Road Trip, and then actually, you know what? Which one would you recommend as a starter for when it comes to the road trip stuff?
Planning your perfect road trip. I mean,
Planning
if
your
you're in
perfect
the
road trip.
Midwest, do your road trip adventures,
That
but
makes
actually
sense.
planning your perfect road trip because that will help you
Sam,
plan
yeah.
your perfect road trip.
Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Everybody, get your planning the trip, perfect road trip, or if you guys want a really good mystery book, you got Alex Page Travel Mystery Books. It is right now $9.99. You get all books 1 through 5. 100%. Go ahead, get it right now, guys. It is not an audiobook, but if you guys do want an audiobooks, maybe I can use my voice, by the way, for the audio or whatnot. Well, she got a husband with a red light that could do that, I guess.
Well, our protagonist is a female, so I will be recording the audiobooks. Actually, and this
My
this
protagonist is a
book
female too.
in the series is coming out, Trouble on the Tracks, and I'm
Well,
launching a Kickstarter. I'm launching a Kickstarter in the next, couple weeks. So, if you get Peril on the Peninsula for free, then you'll be on my email list, and you'll find out about
Sweet.
the next one.
Yeah, there you guys go. Go to Teresa's book. I just scrolled down here, and everybody that's watching this cast right now, Peril on the Peninsula is $0. Look at that. Look at that awesome thing right there. But you got Revenge on the Rockies, Betrayed at the Beach, Ruin on the River, Chaos in the Canyon, and Menace in the Marina. How did you come up with these titles, by the way?
Love them.
I like alliteration.
Alliteration. That's
There you go.
All right, guys, and this is all a part of the Alex Page Travel Mysteries, by the way. So you can get the whole set for $9.99, 1 through 5. So Teresa, once again, thank you so much for coming. You were a blast. Thank you for telling us about the A to Z beers. We gotta get this back going on for
We
sure.
are gonna push on that so hard.
We're gonna push that. So
Because-
hard. We're gonna
We're gonna
get
make this happen.
and we're getting all the
Yeah.
young people. Like over here, Yadu's gonna help us out with the young people, right? All right. So on that note, though, thank you again, Teresa. And you know what, Yadu, I'm gonna let you have the final words because I haven't had you had the final words in a while.
Yeah.
Stay safe, everybody.
All right.
What?
Cheers, guys.
All right.
Underwhelming,
That
to say the least. What?
So
Underwhelming.
Bye.
But yeah, stay safe, everyone.
Stay safe.
All right, I already
It's a
stopped.
good
I already
message.
stopped.
well,
Already stopped
I
the
am
stream.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't have any
Stream
more
stopped.
here.
Thank you so much,
Freaking-
Teresa. By the way.
Wait, let me.